year after they shocked the football world on a Thursday night.
Leaping into the end zone.
Here are the Chargers again, getting another shot mile high in the air.
Peyton Manning with a terrific bulldozes in. And it's caught for a touchdown.
Football starts here.
Peyton lets it fly. He's got the touchdown. Got a man wide open to the end zone for the touchdown.
That throw was right on the money.
Down the sideline, and he is flying. Oh, big hit. And he's going to go the distance. What a play. Unbelievable.
It's Thursday night football. Oh yeah, baby.
As we drop the curtain on a gorgeous night in the Mile High City, a second night game in a four-night span here in Denver as the Broncos get set to play host to division rival San Diego. Playing for first in the AFC West. San Diego won the toss and elected to defer, Phil Simms.
Well, that's what they wanted, to make sure Peyton Manning didn't get the football, Jim, at the end of the first half and the start of the second. That's what he loved, so little victory right away for San Diego.
Andre Caldwell, Cody Latimer, both deep, and we'll have a touchback as Peyton Manning takes the field just 4 days after the record.
Touchdown Denver. Peyton Manning's 7th touchdown pass ties an NFL record. There's the record. Move over Tom Brady. That chair belongs to Peyton Manning. And number 18 is now number 1. Move over Brett Favre and make room for the new king.
And the new king is going to come out here with a spread formation. The first snap of the game. Caldwell and Welker, the extra receivers. As Manning has Sanders, it bounces off the collision and is able to pick up 14. Gained an extra 7 by breaking the double whammy tackle attempt.
Well, what we're going to see here tonight, Jim, I expect Denver at times, you said it, will there be a hangover from the record, to play very fast to get this defense of San Diego running sideline to sideline. Why? Tire them out and get Dwight Freeney, maybe their best pass rusher, tired.
He's still right on you. Hey, you Omaha!
And off our first Omaha of the night, it's over to Welker. Just wonderful tackle there by Weddle for no gain. So you heard just a few of the records that belong to Peyton, that whole sequence of highlights. And the passing yards, well, that's one that still belongs to Brett Favre. He's with the completion already in this game, he's almost exactly 5,000 yards behind Favre. Or, in other words, probably one season away, maybe next October away from having that record too. And on 2nd and 10, that pass off the fingertips of Demaryius Thomas.
Now, you heard him in the pregame show. I thought Bill Cowher and Deion Sanders said something was important. Make Peyton Manning start from his 20, long drive so you can give up a couple first downs. But a big key, can you hold him to 3 points when they get down the red zone? That's always a victory for the defense. And we saw the missed tackles on the first play. That's a huge part of this game. If they catch it, make sure you get them to the ground fast.
Hillman now flanking Manning. Peyton, middle of the field. And he's gotten the hook up near the first down. The 3rd down pass play to Demaryius Thomas. A die on the tackle.
Now it looks like it's 4th down. So as you watch it, just watch the Charger defense. They know they kind of circle the receivers. They know where the first down marker is, and that's really been a big key for what they've done against the passing attack of the Denver Broncos.
4th and 1, they're going to bring out Colquitt to punt.
Well, that's the only decision you can make early in the game. Don't give San Diego momentum. Of course, you got to punt the football.
Keenan Allen. Perhaps returning this one. Now he's going to fair catch it. He got a flag down. Remember, it was 4th and 1. Flag down at the line of scrimmage after the 40-yard punt by Britton Colquitt. Terry McCauley is tonight's referee. And already the signal.
Illegal use of hands to the face, kicking team number 57. 10-yard penalty added to the end of the play. First down, timeout.
That'll put Rivers and company just shy of the 30-yard line. So San Diego stops Denver on its opening drive. All right, Rivers and the Chargers will handle it from the 28. Eddie Royal in the lineup as a third wideout. As he brings Oliver to the backfield. He stacks the right side, and Rivers on first down has Royal, and he bounces off a couple of hits before Irving finishes him off in a 5-yard gain. What a season start it's been for Rivers. You could say just through 7 games, some of these numbers are, well, perhaps the best start any quarterback's ever had through 7 games.
How could it be better? Look at that. First, all of, and of course, Dan Fouts here tonight, a great San Diego Charger quarterback here calling the game on radio.
And this team only 3 giveaways through 7 games. That's the lowest in the league. Efficient and at times explosive. 2nd and 5. And it's a completion to Gates, but he's a couple yards shy of the first. Wrapped up by Irving.
Well, you know, Jim, they know they spread them out. Watch the defensive tackle. Sylvester Williams drop back in coverage. That's 8 people. When you see 5 wide receivers, you know it's going to be a quick pass. And Phillip Rivers, we did it in the opening. A huge key to this game. Make sure you're decisive and get rid of the football quick. Try to discourage the pass rush of the Denver Broncos.
He had one last word for Malcolm Floyd. Split wide to the right when they broke huddle. 3rd and 2. And he goes underneath to Allen, and Keenan Allen is bounced out by Aqib Talib, but that's good for the first down. Goes for 8.
That's 3 passes, and he held the football about a total of 2 seconds at all 3. They love this. Denver is a huge man-to-man coverage team, so short crossing routes make it really tough on those defensive backs. They'll go across the formation, dodge their own guys, plus the receivers for the other team. Good call by San Diego.
Going to be a fun night here in Denver. We've had combined 7 plays, all passes, not a single rush. 1st and 10 as Rivers from the pocket steps up, and he's got another completion to Keenan Allen. You know, we talked to Phillip Rivers. We've been here so many times for San Diego at Denver. He loves playing here.
Where does he not? I mean, you know what he says? Oh, I love it. The fans are against you. The atmosphere is good. You know, that air. What do you say? The air just feels great when you get off the plane.
And I step off the plane, I love it.
I feel good,
Yep.
yes. And he likes the fact when he comes out to warm up, there's a lot of guys in the stands already to fans.
2nd and 3, and now a running play, and that is stuffed. That's Oliver with nowhere to go into the arms of Miller and Irving, but
I thought last year in the playoff game, San Diego made a mistake. They said, we're going to run the football, control the clock, and Denver had one thing in mind. They were not going to let them run the ball. And that is the same frame of mind they have here tonight. Make him throw it. When we get him in good situations, they don't think this offensive line of San Diego can block all the pass rushers that the Broncos have.
looking for a second 3rd down conversion on this opening series. 3rd and 5. They go screen. Oliver defended beautifully by Brandon Marshall for a loss on the play.
And if you're wondering who Brandon Marshall is, we all say the same thing, 54. He was a practice squad player. They brought him up on the active roster because John Fox watched practice every day and goes, we can't block 54. I want to see him in the game, and he has been outstanding since he's been a starter.
I'll tell you, Rivers has a lot of respect for him. He talked about him last night in our production meeting after watching the game film. Had a lot to say about 54. Who made that stop. And it's Cypress trying to pin Denver here, which he did on a number of occasions last year. And that's a fair catch by Burse at the 11-42-yard punt. Cypress gets that job done. Each have had it once. Scoreless in the early going. NFL Thursday Night Football, sponsored by Whole Foods Market, America's healthiest grocery store. The Lexus GX, dare to be spontaneous. And by the United States Air Force, experience more at airforce.com as you look at Red Rocks, about 10 miles west of Denver. Spectacular setting for a concert. We're getting set now for the second series by the Broncos. It'll start at the 12 with 3 tight ends, Thomas, Green, and Tammy. Among those split wide, 5 in all, as the pass is to Tammy, and Jacob Tammy has a 4-yard gain.
Well, I guess Peyton Manning read some papers and knew everything. They said, well, if they're going to be injured in the defensive backfield, it's not the same. Well, let's come out and throw the football. But as I said in that first series, the best thing this Chargers defense can do, and it did last year to many teams, they kind of let you catch the football like that last play. They fly up and make the tackle.
2nd and 6. Here's Hillman. And this is why they are so excited at Denver about Ronnie Hillman. That second effort got him near, second and third effort got him near the first down, maybe just a little shy. He had a 100-yard performance at the Jets in his first career start. Had 74 yards and a couple of touchdowns Sunday night against San Francisco.
Well, you know, Jim, he came in the league 20 years old. He was 180 pounds as a rookie. He's up to 195, so he's stronger. He can run inside. He's learning the pro game, and he's another weapon for this offense. And, man, they got a lot of them.
Getting his chance with Monte Ball out with a groin injury. Inactive again tonight, and Hillman has the first down. Running behind Paul Cornick. Yeah, this rushing offense. Ball was struggling at the start of this season, Phil.
Right. Well, he was. The offensive line, they do so much passing. Sometimes you can lose your aggressiveness up front. I think they did. And Hillman's come in. You saw the tough run, but he has that explosion. It makes you sit back on defense, and he can get by unblocked defensive players. That's what makes you a special running back in this league.
Saw Monte in the white shirt watching from the sidelines. 1st and 10. 3rd straight carry now. Hillman. And he is ridden down by Eric Weddle. But it's another 6-yard carry. Never miss a moment of the action. Get the fastest scores and news for San Diego, Denver, and all teams. Right on your phone. Download the CBS Sports app. So they bring in Juwan Thompson now, an undrafted free agent rookie out of Duke. And he is split wide to the left, top of the screen, 2nd and 4.
Well, the formation already tells Peyton Manning they're going to drop back in zone coverage. And I was wrong. It's a blitz.
And that pass was thrown in the direction of Thompson. And it'll be 3rd and 4.
Really good disguise. I sit up here. I got a great view. So I'm going, well, that's a zone. That's why they put the running back outside. And they confused him. They bring the 2 blitzers up top. Here they come. Peyton Manning has to get rid of it before he wants. And all quarterbacks are the same. Less time to make the decision. Can't step in the throw. You're going to be off target a little. Well, that was good disguise. It's
52's down. Yo, 56 is Mike. Yo,
look at this. Everybody standing up. Now they get down.
Weddle looking like he might blitz. Now he drops back. 3rd and 4. Finds the open man. It's Demaryius Thomas to move the chains.
Well, he thinks it's going to be man coverage because they're up at the line of scrimmage, and what a route by Demaryius Thomas. He runs so many crossers, you've got to honor that. And Sharice Wright, of course, is flying across the field. Why? Because Demaryius Thomas is fast. Change direction, you can't stay with him.
1st down at the 47. And Julius Thomas shifts back to a wing on the left. And there's movement by Clady.
False start, offense number 78. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
We saw the Broncos a couple of times in September, Phil, and Demaryius Thomas was battling a foot injury. Plus, they weren't fully loaded at wideout with Wes Welker out. Look how things have changed in October.
Well, that's right. The foot injury and the fact that they put him in the slot some and said maybe he could learn some of Wes Welker's play, how to do it. Jim, that's too much. I think it overloads a player. It can paralyze you. We saw that. Well, I'd say he's gotten over it because he is free, he is fast, and as the Charger defensive coach has said, he is an absolute beast trying to cover that.
That 521 over 3 games, the biggest 3-game streak in Denver history, and the completion goes to Julius Thomas for a gain of 6.
You know, sometimes you sit back and you wonder, well, how does Peyton Manning determine who to throw it to? Because you show me a weak link in this passing game of this receiving group. There is none. Julius Thomas, he gets a one-on-one. Peyton Manning's going his way.
Sending signals, hand signals to the triplets to the right. And a 2nd and 9 with Hillman in the backfield, getting the carry. And he's able to take it to the San Diego side of the 46. The 3rd and about 5 on the way.
Well, you can. That was a good illustration, Jim. Wasn't it? You know, you think you got him stopped for a 1- and 2-yard gain, but Hillman is so fast. He's explosive. My gosh, how long have we been hearing from the Denver Broncos about Hillman? They've been waiting to show him off. They finally got him in the lineup. He gets to practice, and the results, they speak for themselves.
Actually only needing 3 for the first. 3rd and 3.
Hey, go Omaha! Hey! Apple! Right here! Hey, go Heat!
It's Hillman. And he is tackled for a loss by Ricardo Matthews.
That was some play. Ricardo Matthews, you see him stick out every now and then. Number 90 just gets around the blocker Franklin before he can react. And that's the type of plays you need when you play, well, any team in the NFL. It's about 3rd downs. Can you get them off the field? But it's even more important when you play Denver's offense.
They've gotten Denver off the field twice now without point production. 4th and 4, Colquitt. He's not had a single touchback this year. Allen with the fair catch. 34-yard pooch punt. Down at the 14. 3.5 to go first quarter. We are back in Denver and we'll be in Charlotte next Thursday on the NFL Network. Breeze, Newton, Saints and Panthers only on NFL Network. We'll look forward to being with you next Thursday night.
Yeah, I look forward to watching both of them play. We know Drew Brees is great. I think Cam Newton's played very well this year. And it's always, hey, look, when you watch him play, a big play is always around the corner.
Because Mike McCoy was at Carolina with John Fox and then later reunited with Fox here in Denver. He was an offensive coordinator here for the Broncos for 4 years before getting the head coaching job at San Diego, and he's done a fine job now in his 2nd season. 1st and 10. Delay give. Oliver, he's going to take it outside. Wiggles past one defender, and then Raheem Moore holds on to him at the 20. 6-yard run. Yeah, talk about how Rivers has set a new pace for Charger quarterbacks in history through 7 games. Look at what the team has done. Best through 7 in so many categories. Best ever as far as giveaways, only 3.
Well, when they lost to Kansas City this weekend, Philip Rivers said he meeting, clapped his hand and goes, hey guys, we're 5-2, just to get them over the funk of losing that home game against Kansas City.
2nd and 4, and Oliver's in trouble right away. Von Miller crashes across, and it's a loss of 5.
Von Miller is having a tremendous year. That's an understatement. Rushing the passer, can stop. Oh my gosh, what a block on tight end. John Phillips just pushes him down. But think about this. All the sacks that he has so far this year, Jim, he doesn't even rush full time. He drops back in coverage. He's a linebacker that plays off the line of scrimmage. So the pair, him and DeMarcus Ware, pretty awesome.
Number 1 in the league in sacks right now through 7 weeks is Miller. Ronnie Brown's come in for the Chargers, 3rd and 9. And Rivers gets it away and over the head of Allen, who wants a flag, but doesn't get it.
Well, he ran a different route than Philip Rivers was expecting. 3rd and long, what did they do? The San Diego Chargers, they had tight ends at the end of the line of scrimmage to make sure the 2 pass rushers didn't get to Philip Rivers.
The Broncos defense, 2nd best in the league by percentage. forcing teams into 3 and outs, which they've just done. Cyphers standing on the goal line. And Denver wants to set up return. It's Burst, the rookie from Fresno State, watches it bounce past him and able to field it back near the 20 and skip ahead to the 31. 60-yard punt. And the Broncos will have their 3rd possession coming up. NFL Thursday Night Football is sponsored by Dumb and Dumber 2, starring Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels in theaters November 14th, and by Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich here in the capital city of Colorado, Denver.
Buffalo! Right there, Buffalo! 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 Blue 20! What's that?
The action fake, down the field he goes to Sanders, and he holds on for the catch right over Eric Weddle, as well as Jason Barrett.
Well, this is just going up and taking the football away. They're in great position to stop it. Barrett's there. Jason Weddle comes over to make the tackle, but it's a perfect throw. And the one thing that Peyton Manning does that we don't give him enough credit for, gets a lot of credit, he deserves it, but he's an extremely accurate thrower of the football down the field because he uses his whole body to make those throws.
Goes for 38. Only one play went for over 35 in the 3 games last year against the San Diego defense. Meanwhile, Hillman's got a 7-yard run. Hey, Phillip Rivers on that last series was not happy with the 2nd down play call that led to Oliver being dropped for a 5-yard loss.
Well, he knows they're working on a very fine line, and one of their big deals tonight, don't have negative plays. He picked his helmet up and was yelling into it. I guess he thought maybe the coaches could hear him, but they can't hear when he talks back.
2nd and 3. And here's the handoff to Sanders for the 1st down. 1 week from tonight, it's an all-new night of comedy on CBS, beginning with The Big Bang Theory on its new night, followed by the season premiere of Mom, final season of 2.5 Men, and the new comedy launches The McCarthys. It all starts next Thursday, 8/7 Central, only CBS.
Well, John Pagano, defensive coordinator for San Diego, just talking to him, does a great job, or as good as you can do against Peyton. He says, man, they do more stuff inside the 20 than any team in the NFL. And, of course, I think casual fans even know that.
Last play of the quarter, and it's down to the 2 with Demaryius Thomas. A scoreless first quarter ends, but Denver is right at the doorstep, 2 yards away when the 2nd quarter begins. Denver the best in the red zone. San Diego's defense is last, just finishing a scoreless first quarter. The only other time that's happened for Manning as a Bronco was his first game against Pittsburgh in 2012 was a scoreless first quarter, but might not be for long as Peyton unable to handle the snap and falls on it.
Well, once you go down like that, you are giving yourself up, so you maybe don't have to touch him. But the snap is just off target. Little different formation. 2 lead blockers in the backfield. Ronnie Hillman behind him. And
what do you think they were up to there?
oh, they were going to run the football. They had a lead blocker that time. They definitely were going to run it. Just took his eyes off the football just a little too quick. So many things to worry about. All the pick plays, the screens, and a good running game.
2nd and goal. They bring Sanders to the left side. And he's able to thread it to Sanders, but he's gang tackled at the 2.
Well, you saw how tight the coverage was. And the one thing when you practice and throw the football as much as the Denver Broncos do, we see them in practice, Jim. You do it so much, you do it in the games, they make all the hard catches look easy.
Demaryius Thomas to the right side, top of the screen. Hillman, the running back, 3rd and goal. Rolling out. Manning to the end zone. He finds Emmanuel Sanders for the touchdown.
can't play defense any better than that. They take away his first and second options, and he finds Emmanuel Sanders in the back of the end zone. So if it's all covered, it's almost like the pass, Jim, that Joe Montana threw to Dwight Clark.
Yeah.
Look to the right. They did an excellent job of covering the sprint out pass, which I've seen them do here down the goal line of late. And you do it again. They practice this over and over. He definitely got both feet in before he went out of bounds.
So Sanders, who set up the drive to the end zone with a 38-yard reception, scores his second touchdown as a Bronco. His first came on Sunday night against San Francisco. 54 straight red zone possession scores for Manning and the Broncos. As Peyton goes over with Adam Gase.
Some really cool wrinkles in that drive by the Chargers. You can't prepare for everything this Denver offense does in 3 days.
This will not be returned. Peyton Manning now at 5'11". Pitches this touchdown throw to Emmanuel Sanders. 5'11". Cy Young had 5'11". 511 wins. White Freeney already going to the mask here in the rarefied air of Denver. Rivers, back shoulder throw and right on the mark for Malcolm Floyd. Gain of 16.
Phillip Rivers very excited to have Malcolm Floyd back. Why? Big receiver, fast, everybody loves that. But he said since he's come back, he can go down the field, make those big plays, and it's opened up a lot of plays underneath because of his threat of going deep.
Yeah, Phillip felt it's been somewhat underrated. What a huge difference it's been having that vertical threat. Floyd, of course, was out early last season. Here's the pass over to Oliver, and they are all over him every time he touches the football. To leave the first to get there, and it's a loss on the play of 2. Let's go down to Tracy.
Well, guys, you saw after that last offensive drive, Phillip Rivers extremely frustrated. It wasn't only that drive, it was the previous drive as well. And it wasn't only him, it was also offensive line coach Joe D'Alessandris. A lot of the talk was directed to DJ Fluker. It seems as though there is a problem there, not on the same page. He'll try and get it corrected.
Here's the pass over to Allen. And he's got a short game. Keenan Allen with his third catch of the night goes for 5.
You know, Jim, you and I got a great view up here. It's a little far, but, I'm not going to complain. But after the first series, I looked at you, and when you watch this Denver defense, the first thing that jumps out at you as you look at what they've done so far here today is the speed.
No question.
How quick they get to players, just like that little screen outside, they get there fast.
Big difference from a year ago.
Not even close.
3rd and 7. And Miller beats Fluker, and he's got a sack for the 5th straight game.
I meant to ask him what that sack dance is. Pretty cool. It's his own, of course. On the outside, here he comes, and that's the matchup the San Diego Chargers are worried about. DJ Fluker against somebody that has just figured it out. That's all they say in Denver. He's figured out how to rush the passer.
And that's just one play after Tracy had just given us the report from the sidelines saying the Chargers were very concerned about it. He yields the sack. Got a flag down after the 46-yard punt.
Good job of working the pocket, though, by Phillip Rivers. He keeps those hands on the football. And like we said in the opening, he's thrown under as much pressure as any quarterback in football so far this year. But obvious passing situation. Hard to hold that pass rush back.
The penalties against San Diego. And now McCauley's just trying to get an idea from Coach Fox what he wants to do with it.
I think he'd be declining to add the penalty on.
During the kick, holding, kicking team number 25. 10-yard penalty added into the play. First down, timeout.
Called on Darryl Stuckey. And now Vaughn Miller has sacked Phillip Rivers 8 times in the last 7 games. NFL Thursday Night Football is sponsored by Cialis. And brought to you by Pizza Hut. Find the best deals at pizzahut.com. And by State Farm. Pump up your savings with a discount. Double check today. Boy, they make some quick decisions down the truck, huh?
I've never seen Lance Merrill, the producer, Mike Arnold, be so quick. I wish they were that quick when it comes time to pick up a check.
No kidding. Mike Tiffey, Corey Fishman in that shot. Jim Rickoff right behind him.
Big series for the Chargers defense.
Hold it!
First down. It's Hillman. And into the arms of Freeney. But he's got a gain of about 4.
Well, Dwight Freeney, 93, comes across the formation, gets in there, and makes his tackle for a short gain. What they need Dwight Freeney to do is get around that edge and pressure Peyton Manning. Look at Manning's uniform. Not a spot on it so far.
2nd and 6 coming after him. So he quickly unloads it. And it lands at the feet of Julius Thomas. That was Donald Butler, who was in the backfield in a hurry.
Yep, good job, good disguise again. Caught Peyton Manning off guard. It did not look like a blitz. That's why he had to throw the football away. What did Donald Butler say about playing Peyton Manning?
Well, he's had all kinds of experiences with him.
He goes, I visited Peyton Land. That means Peyton came up and said, block him, and he throws a touchdown pass.
Yeah, Peyton World. He said, welcome to Peyton World moment. 3rd and 6. Incomplete. At the last moment, Sharice Wright was able to knock it out of the hands of Julius Thomas.
Just beautifully played by Sharice Wright. Also, a perfect throw by Peyton Manning. They pick up the blitz. Sharice Wright just read the receiver. When he raised his hand, what's he do? Go up between them, knock the football out. Really well done.
And that's a big play for that San Diego defense by Wright to get Denver off the field after 3 plays. Just when they were starting to percolate. And the last drive taking it down the field. Colquitt earns another fair catch out of it by Allen, who had to make a little more out of it, bending over to make that fair catch after a 49-yard punt. This is the play right here by Wright. It gets the football back to the San Diego offense ultimately. Taken in the game, chairman of the CBS television network, Leslie Moonves, who is all behind this Thursday night football concept, along with our sports chairman, Sean McManus. George Schweitzer, there, CBS, making sure we're reading all the blue cards. He's come on site. Make sure all the promos are in. The best in the business at that, isn't he? Here's 1st and 10 as Oliver has a gain of about 4. He hasn't seen much positive yardage. That's the 14th play run by San Diego in this game. And 5 of the 14 plays they've run have lost yardage.
Well, all they talked about, let's don't have negative plays, because they know how good this Denver defense is, and it's hard to overcome. Oliver, yeah, he looks like Darren Sproles, but a more powerful runner between the tackles.
2nd and 6. And this is going to be the 6th play that's lost yardage for the Chargers out of 15. Next Thursday on CBS, Holmes and Watson back for a new season of Elementary. Don't miss the season premiere. Elementary next Thursday, 10/9 Central. Only CBS.
Well, this Denver defense, it plays fast, and the difference between it now and early in the year, they play fast together. They're not making mistakes, turning people loose, getting out of position. 6 negative plays. You said it, Jim, so far tonight. Here we are, midway, not even midway in the 2nd quarter.
And this stadium is rocking, responding to its defense. 3rd and 7. Rivers is going to Gates, and that gets the flag. The penalty call against Quentin Carter. He was holding the jersey.
Pass interference. Defense number 38. Automatic 1st down.
trying to find Gates, who comes into the game tonight just needing 29 yards to move past. Lance Allworth is the all-time.
Boy, nice route.
Look at that.
Really good route. Fakes like he's going to go deep and outside, turns and stops. Quentin Carter big enough, fast enough to match up against Antonio Gates. He had some success against him last year. That's why he's on him tonight.
Trying to break the Allworth reception yardage record in San Diego history. And there's the pass to Gates, and that gets him 6 yards closer. Here's how Antonio ranks all time at the tight end position. Tony Gonzalez, the leader in all three, but it's a Hall of Fame career, Antonio Gates.
No doubt about it. Basketball player in college, has made an unbelievable transition, lost a little weight, talks about how well he feels. It shows the way he's playing, almost unstoppable.
2nd and 4. Play action, and going for the deep ball for Floyd down the field, and it bounces around incomplete. Defended by Talib.
Beautiful job, but Phillip Rivers did the right thing, even though they're all over it. Nice move, but how about Aqib Talib? Never took his eyes off the quarterback, watched the whole time, and he jumped up and knocks it away. It's amazing that he stays off of these guys who are big and fast and can still watch the quarterback and the receiver at the same time.
Brings up a 3rd down for Rivers. 3rd and 4. Trying to generate something for this Charger offense. Has been stymied so far. Over the top, he's got the 1st down. As Ward knocks Allen to the ground, but a 1st down and a gain of 13 to Keenan Allen.
Going to come from the left side of the screen. Look at what happens. The Denver Broncos make a mistake. They switch off. Nobody follows Keenan Allen, and Phillip Rivers was watching him all the way. You see the switch? 2 people were looking at Antonio Gates. Nobody saw Antonio Allen.
I tell you, Gates got a shoulder on Nate Irving, and that gave Rivers the time he needed for the completion.
You're right. I meant Keenan Allen.
Ajira Tutu is an added receiver for the Chargers in on this play as the undrafted running back out of University of Buffalo, Oliver, has a yard. Speaking of undrafted, Antonio Gates talking about that resume. Well, this is something he can relate to. This show coming up, Undrafted, series premiere at 9 p.m. Eastern time next Tuesday on NFL Network, or a special advance premiere tonight at midnight on NFL Network.
Well, Phillip Rivers is doing what he wanted to do. Have some sustained drives so it would slow down the outside pass rush, or at least he hopes it does.
2nd and 9. Here they come. Rivers gets it away to Allen. And he dives ahead for the 1st down.
He did not see that blitz coming from his left side, and it's a good thing. He knew he had coverage on the outside, one-on-one. Keenan Allen, boy, he can run some routes. Stop on a dime.
And guess who came from that left side? It was Vaughn Miller again, I believe.
I think I would always know where he is at. If I was an offensive lineman or a pass blocker, that's a bad mistake by the Chargers offense.
1st and 10. And Oliver. For no gain.
How about these guys inside, Jim? You know, you can't talk about them because you got DeMarcus Ware, Von Miller, but the inside of that defense, Terrence Knight and Sylvester Williams, Marvin Austin in there now, you can't move them. That's why it's hard to run the football.
Deepest advancement of the game so far for the Chargers from the Denver 38. Oliver's been held to 7 carries, 5 yards. And open. And Rivers finds him. Eddie Royal for a 1st down.
Well, Phillip Rivers said it right. We got some talent. And they do. Nice route by Eddie Royal. Look at, again, the sharp cut, the timing. Rivers anticipates. Boy, and he has a compact motion. He's at least 6'5". He talked about how he can throw with people around him and just doesn't flinch.
Here's the last 10 pass attempts by Rivers, 8 out of 10. Eddie Royal, of course, drafted into the league in the 2nd round by Denver back in 08. He's had a big season for Rivers and the Chargers. He's caught 5 touchdowns. Back over to Keenan Allen. And Talib is able to trip him up, holds him to 2.
Well, this is really a really good drive by this San Diego offense, and they're doing the right thing. Is they know they're getting coverage outside. It's one-on-one. You got really good receivers, and he's putting the pressure on his wide receivers to win those matchups one-on-one. They've done it so far.
Keenan Allen in the slot to the left. He was asking to come out. He was heading to the sideline, trotting that way, and they said, stay in there. 2nd and 8. And Rivers passed with a flag on the field. Incomplete.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Offense number 77. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Their left tackle, King Dunlap.
This guy's 77. You see him in the screen. Pushing him up high. Couldn't see it from there. But, you know, the pass rushers like DeMarcus Ware, they get low. They dip that shoulder. They get, hey, listen, King Dunlap and DJ Fluker, they're every bit of 6'7", both of them. So sometimes those hands are going to slide up to the face.
And he got into the face here of DeMarcus Ware.
Yep.
Keenan Allen, I said, was asking out on that last snap. He's taken to the sideline for this play, 2nd and 18. And Rivers sacked for a loss of 3 as Knighton and Wolf combined to bring him down.
Well, the initial pass protection's very good, but I'll tell you, there is nobody open. Well, there was one coming across the middle. He didn't see him. They had a double team on Antonio Gates, and that really threw the rhythm of Phillip Rivers off, and he couldn't find the next receiver.
Facing a 3rd and 20 now from the Broncos 34. And Allen returns. He's on the right side. Talib keeping an eye on him. Down the field over the top. Gates pulls it in. And he's got a 1st and goal to go as Antonio Gates picks up 30 on the play, and he breaks the Allworth record with this catch.
We see it a lot. It's a blitz. They got 3 people coming from the right. Phillip Rivers gets rid of it before he's hit. And the blocking in the backfield, Oliver, what a job picking up the blitz to give Rivers that extra time. Antonio Gates, Jim, has made some spectacular catches this year near the end zone and in it.
1st and goal. Ronnie Brown is the running back. Royal shifting to the left. A drive that's lasted over 7 minutes. And there's the pass to Keenan Allen for his 1st touchdown of the season. And that's now 5 touchdowns by Allen in his 3rd game at Denver. He had 2 in each of the games here last year, regular season and post, 2 each. And now he's got 1 tonight, his 1st of this season.
Well, it's something they see all the time. Here's Keenan Allen. They're going to go out and block. He's going to come underneath it. Phillip Rivers. Well, the Denver defense, they see this every day in practice, but it happens so fast. Allen's so good, you can't get there quick enough.
Allen had 4 receptions on that drive alone. 7 for the night. And Novak's extra point ties the game at 7. With 3 minutes to go in the first half, Rivers has only missed on 2 throws. He's 15 out of 17 and now has a touchdown pass to Keenan Allen. NFL Thursday Night Football is sponsored by Subway Restaurant. Subway, train hard, eat fresh. And by the agile, all-new Audi Q3. Stray the course. 2 original AFL teams, the Broncos and the Chargers. Locked at 7 here, late 2nd quarter, and Keenan Allen, he's been dogged a lot. A lot of people wondering why he hasn't caught a touchdown this year. He's our leading receiver, and now he doesn't have to answer that question anymore as he's in the end zone tonight.
You know, they're doing pretty well on offense. Everybody can't have outstanding stats. And as Phillip Rivers said, look, he's been productive. He's been very good. He goes, Don't worry about that touchdown thing. We'll take care of that.
Yeah. Didn't you get a sense talking to Philip last night he was going to make sure, given the opportunity, it would happen tonight, and it has. This is Andre Caldwell. Takes it up the middle. Down at the 20. Ball comes out at the end of this. And the signal, it belongs to the Chargers. Cavell Connor was in on the hit. And Ladarius Green has fallen on the football.
This is what you always need when you go on the road. You need to make some turnovers, and I think that's going to be close. His forearm looked like it might have been down.
Watch his left elbow.
The previous play is under review.
This one's going to be close. That left arm elbow, was it down first? We'll see. Harry, our rules expert, is in the booth. And what do you see here, Mike?
Well, let's focus on the ball very carefully. You see the strip comes, the ball starts to move just a hair before the elbow hits the ground. That fumble is going to be confirmed. Now we just need to confirm the clear recovery.
After the review, the runner's elbow is down, in complete control of the football. That will be Denver's ball at the 26-yard line. Please set the game clock to 3 minutes, 3 seconds.
Mike, I got to totally agree with you on this one. You could see it actually, the seams, the ball was starting to rotate just a fraction before the elbow was down. See it
there you go,
right
there, before the elbow goes down.
Terry McCauley didn't see it that way, so it's going to be Denver football at the 26.
Well, Mike's first initial reaction, he goes, boy, this is close. And it was close, and it was a huge play, of course, for San Diego if they'd have got the recovery.
First down. And Hillman out to the 30. Both teams have all of their timeouts. Remember, big possession here for the Broncos because the Chargers had deferred. They'll be receiving the second half kickoff and would love to have the chance to double up late first half, start to the third. And of course, we're going to have the Lexus halftime report with JB, Dion, and Coach Cowher breaking down first half action here at Sports Authority Field.
And Peyton Manning, you say, why is he going so slow? Because he's going to play it both ways. Of course, he's going to try to drive down and score, but if it doesn't work, he wants to use up some clock to hurt San Diego's offense.
2nd and 7 as Hillman jump cuts, and it is taken down after 2. Jarrett Johnson.
Jarrett Johnson, one of the hardest working men in football, and the San Diego Charger coaches, they can't talk about him enough. His heart, his effort is relentless. Still a productive player. Very productive.
And that's going to bring us to the 2-minute warning here in Denver. Chargers, Broncos tied 7-7. Again next week, Thursday Night Football moves to NFL Network with an NFC South clash, the Saints and the Panthers. We look forward to bringing you the action next Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, live on NFL Network. 3rd and 6 for the Broncos at the 2-minute mark, second quarter.
Great disguise.
What a catch. It generates flags from both directions as Demaryius Thomas makes the catch.
Pass interference. Defense number 29. Automatic first down.
Well, you take the penalty here, Jim. Why you take it instead of the completion? So you stop the clock. You decline it, and since it's a penalty, that way you don't have to waste the timeout. Maybe gives you a few extra seconds.
They took the pass play instead. And that's through the fingertips of Julius Thomas.
I'm watching this San Diego defense now. Even for Peyton Manning, who has seen it all, their disguising is really good. You think it's a blitz coming from John Pagano, and at the very last second, they got to be watching the play clock, and they go flying out of there and get back and play a whole different coverage. Very good so far by San Diego's defense.
Pagano's defense, 5th in total defense, 3rd in fewest points, with a shutout. 1 of 3 shutouts registered this season. And Walker with a flag on the field, gained 7.
Prior to the pass, Holding. Receiving team number 52. Penalties decline.
Hold on a minute on that one. I
Correction,
think that's-
penalties accepted.
yeah, it's gonna
5-yard
be
penalty,
accepted.
automatic first down.
Coming up on the Lexus halftime report, JB Dion and Coach Coward. Again, with their thoughts here on the first half.
Well, we've seen a little bit of everything. Quarterback sharp, Phillip Rivers. Wide receivers for San Diego.
Now hearing that Jason Verrett, the fine first-round pick corner for the Chargers, questionable return. Got an nagging shoulder injury, and that's Demaryius Thomas able to create separation from Wright and take the football just inside the 40, gain of 18.
Well, it's good play by Sharice Wright. If they're going to throw back shoulder throws like this, then you just got to say great job by the offense. And how about that? Now you have both of your starting corners are not in the game against probably the best receiving core and best passing offense in football.
On first down. Catch is made by Hillman. He's got 9. Quite a pivot move to pick up additional yardage. Timeout called by the Broncos with a minute to go in the first half and driving. Today on CBS, a case so big these geniuses will need some help as Linda Hunt from NCIS Los Angeles guest stars on a new Scorpion Monday at 9, 8 Central on America's #1 network. The quarterbacks tonight, both been sharp to this point. 15 of 17 for Rivers and a touchdown. Manning, 13 of 18 with a touch. C.J. Anderson is the running back for the first time tonight. He gets the carry. And he gets met right at the line. It's Ricardo Matthews on another tackle.
Yeah, 2 big plays by him, stopping the run twice. Really active up front.
3rd and 2 for the Broncos. They got the one-on-one coverage. He's got his man beat. And it's Sanders for the second time. The touchdown to the Broncos.
Another long throw by Peyton Manning, and it is right on target. Talked about it. He's so accurate throwing the football down the field. Top of your screen. Richard Marshall, all you got to think about in this situation, if you're on defense, hold them to a field goal try. That's all you want to do. You gamble, you go after it, you play tight man-to-man. Hard to run down the field with these receivers.
And taking advantage of a depleted San Diego secondary. And a 14-7 lead now for Denver. Sanders with both of the touchdowns for the Broncos coming on 3rd and 2 situations. This one 31 yards. Will that drive down the field for the Broncos? 74 yards, and of course the critical no fumble call on the kick return and a big conversion, couple of 3rd down conversions, and the Broncos take it down the field.
Yeah, but what you got to be unhappy about is, okay, they're moving the football. Time is kind of on your side if you're on the defensive side. Make them throw it short, keep tackling them. That's what you've done so far. You let them get deep. Peyton Manning, again, right on target.
Phillip Rivers have the ball at the 20 with 32 seconds to go in the half, plus all 3 timeouts.
Well, here we go. Watch Peyton Manning. I just want to show this. When he throws long passes down the field, he gets his whole body into it. So he doesn't rely on just touch and feel. In other words, you know, if you throw with all your arm or your hand, you're not going to control the football as well. And he's always done that his whole career. Violent with his body, makes him accurate, and throwing those arching footballs that drop in there perfectly.
And again, with all the timeouts, the Chargers are going to try to do something with these 32 seconds. And Allen drops it, but Ward was ready to lower the boom. How far did Sanders run? Well, there you go.
Well, he pulled away as it went down the
Separation
sideline. Emmanuel Sanders, what a gift for this Denver offense. I mean, come on. They're loaded to begin with. The offensive line's very good. Now you got Hillman in there running it. And Sanders, quick, very fast. Hard to contain.
A run draw with Ronnie Brown. He never did bring him down. He picks up 8. They're going to let the clock run. Got Phillip Rivers already jogging off the field. San Diego again will receive the second half kickoff. Peyton, 2 touchdown passes to Sanders. Rivers with a touchdown throw to Keenan Allen. Marshall was the man who got beat on that last touchdown toss. 14-7 Broncos at the intermission. We're back with the Lexus halftime report after this message. And a word from your local station. You're watching Thursday Night Football. Manning to the end zone for the touchdown. Keenan Allen for the touchdown. He got his man beat. And it's Sanders for the second time. Huge first half for Emmanuel Sanders. 6 catches, 89 yards, and a couple of touchdowns. It's a 14-7 Denver lead, with the Chargers about to receive the second half kick. Let's double check this highlight from the first half, presented by State Farm. Game tied 7-7, last minute of the first half. Manning, Sanders covering 31 yards for the touchdown.
Well, what a first half by Emmanuel Sanders, but how about the throws by Peyton Manning? So accurate, right on the money when they're going deep.
How about the second half now? San Diego again. The injuries adding up in the secondary and other places.
Your 2 starting corners out. Oh, you're playing Peyton Manning. That's pretty tough stuff. So you got to be a little more careful on defense. You got to play more conservative. If you want big plays down the field, you have to keep guys in like Antonio Gates, another tight end, to give Phillip Rivers time so a receiver can make a double move and maybe make a big play.
Let's make a double move and send it down to Tracy on the sideline.
Thanks, Jim. I had a chance to speak with both coaches coming out of the half, and Mike McCoy was simple. He basically said, we cannot give up those big plays like we did right at the end of the half, and he said, the negative plays are killing us. 6 negative plays for minus 19 yards. As for John Fox, he just said, this is the kind of game we expected. It's a division rival. Enjoy it, guys.
Yeah, but most of those negative plays, Phil, for the Chargers happened in the first quarter. They had that one drive that took up almost a half quarter in time that led to their one score. As you see the first half stats, 13 rushing yards for the Chargers. That last play of the first half when Denver, of course, had dropped back. The 8-yard run by Ronnie Brown made Brown their leading rusher in the first half.
How about that? Well, the days of, let's run the football and kill the clock and keep Peyton Manning on the sideline, that's over. If you want to do it, you got to do it with the pass. Like everybody has said, they need to be short, quick passes.
Now San Diego's touchdown was set up on a 3rd and 20 play, which you were surprised to see it was available.
Well, they're doing it because they want to maybe get him out of field goal range. The blitz from the right side of the offense. What a pickup by everybody. The safety comes out of the middle. The anticipation by Phillip Rivers to Antonio Gates was awesome.
And again, breaks the Bambi record, rightfully so, on a pass way down the field. Allworth, who averaged over 19 yards per reception in his Hall of Fame career, now 74 years old and watching back home in Del Mar, California. We send best wishes.
Well, they recruited Antonio Gates out of college because he was a basketball player. Tim Brewster, the tight end coach for the Chargers, went to the campus, stayed with him, talked him into signing with the San Diego Chargers.
They go with Oliver, and he has had a rough go of it. 8 carries now on the night for 4 yards as he loses one here. So Gates, Rivers to Gates, that's the most prolific touchdown combination, quarterback to tight end, in the history of the league. And this is second best, as you see Brady photobombed by Gronkowski with 45 all time. If that's done digitally, so not intentionally photobombed, as Rivers able to somehow sidearm it over to Oliver for no gain.
How about Brandon Marshall, open field against and doesn't give an inch and makes the tackle.
These are the kind of throws that always amaze you, how Rivers is able to improvise.
That's what he's done his whole career. He did it at North Carolina State for 4 years, and he is good. He's not good at it. He's great.
So they've run 2 plays here, Phil. A run and a completion, yet they've lost a yard. So it's 3rd and 11.
Denver is not adverse to blitzing on 3rd and long. This time it looks like they're going to stay back and play pass coverage.
Pass is intercepted. It's Chris Harris going in the direction of Keenan Allen.
He slipped and fell. Chris Harris, top of your screen. Here he is. Keenan Allen doesn't look like he's even going to come inside. There's a flag on the field. I think it's a late hit after the interception.
After the interception, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Intercepting team number 97. 15-yard penalty, first down.
It's on Malik Jackson, but instead of starting near the 30, that'll back him up. That's only the 4th giveaway of the entire season by the Chargers.
When you worry about pass pressure and you anticipate throws, this is the kind of things that can happen. Where you're not quite in sync, you're going to make mistakes. And he throws so few interceptions. How about that? The first giveaway in the last 4 games.
They're actually reviewing upstairs as they do all turnovers. Make sure Harris had a clean catch on the pick.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. First down, Denver.
Chris Harris has his 2nd interception of the season.
Well, you'll see in the slow motion, the ball starts to come out right there, right straight, right before the elbow.
And again, this was the one in the 2nd quarter when Caldwell fumbled on the kickoff.
Yeah, so the ball starts coming out at the beginning of the strip, right before the elbow hit. That should have been upheld as a fumble. But the play for the interception should have been confirmed. Complete control. The ball did hit the ground, but it didn't move. It was a great catch.
Hillman's got a 2-yard run. Here's what you're talking about with the
And you'll see the control right there. The point of the ball does hit the ground, but it doesn't move at all. He has complete control with his left, with his right hand. Good interception.
2nd and 9. From the 50.
Go! What are you doing?
He's got Hillman out of the backfield. And that generates a flag. Legion got a hit on Manning after the pass, but the flag is in the area of where Hillman went down.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So Mike Harry, let's talk about this one right here.
Well, you see you have a runner down on the ground, and all you need to do is touch him. Even if you hadn't hit him with the helmet, that's just too rough when the runner is already down on the ground.
Yep, that's right.
A touch is as good as a slam.
It was the old phrase, point of emphasis during the offseason. You know he's down. He really can't protect himself. Go up, touch him. He's down.
It's Turek Williams. And the Markov brings Denver to the Chargers 30.
Big play. That was 3rd down going against Denver's offense.
It's Hillman. Look at his quickness. Look at Hillman. Blast ahead for an 11-yard gain.
Well, believe it or not, Denver has been complaining about their second half first drives on the offensive side, saying it's too many 3-and-outs. They had one last week, and they change it up. You play pass defense, they'll run the football.
Back into the red zone, where they have feasted for 54 consecutive red zone possessions.
He caught him. He saw the blitz was coming by waiting so long, so now he can protect himself against the blitz.
With 1 on the play clock, and the pass goes back to Hillman. Hillman down the sidelines to the end zone.
Well, that's going into Peyton's world like we talked about. Here comes the blitz. Nobody picks up the back out of the backfield.
He's out of bounds. Looks like he's out at about the 3.
Yep, I think you're right. See no green. That's where they marked it, 3-yard line. But what a play. If you saw it, the cat and mouse game, at the last second, the Chargers declared they were going to blitz. Stepped out of bounds. They declared the blitz. Peyton Manning checked off and had Hillman wide open.
And first and goal. And Demaryius Thomas not able to spin around fast enough to get away from Wright and chase that one down. And again, Jason Verrett is still out. He re-injured or aggravated that shoulder that kept him out of action against Kansas City last Sunday. The first-round pick cornerback. They're without Brandon Flowers tonight because of a concussion suffered in the Chiefs game. Second and goal. And it's Sanders for the 3rd time.
That was a really good catch. They cover the 2 inside receivers, and Peyton Manning, oh, he throws it over the top of the defense. He did this on purpose. That is an excellent throw. That's trusting your wide receiver that he's going to go up and make that play. Sharice Wright is right there. The underneath coverage was there, so he threw it just out of their reach.
Sanders, again, did not have a touchdown until Sunday night against San Francisco. And now he's got 4 over the last 4 days, 3 of them tonight. It's the first touchdown off of San Diego giveaway all year long. NFL Thursday Night Football is sponsored by Verizon. More live games than ever before with NFL Mobile. Wendy's barbecue pulled pork, served 3 tasty ways. And by Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. As you look at the Denver Mint, producing billions of coins every year.
Well, that was really a terrific anticipation and throw by Peyton Manning. San Diego had the perfect coverage on. They just couldn't stop the throw and catch.
And McManus has delivered another touchback. Phillip Rivers coming out. Here's what Marcus Ware, who was wired tonight, had to say about going after Rivers.
Yeah, like we all around him like a phone booth out. He's falling into it. You know what I'm saying? So if you power him, he steps back. You go around the corner, he steps up. It's like, it's good.
He's good. He's telling Quantaris Smith about facing Phillip.
Well, you know, as they always say, it's not his first rodeo. When you talk about Phillip Rivers, has great feel in the pocket. He's not going to scramble. He's just going to move and give himself time to throw.
On first down, over to Oliver. They have a man on him every time he touches it. This time it's Talib. We'll check the flag. Loss of 5.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Defense number 76. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Well, Jim, look at the touchdown Peyton Manning had. He throws it to the outside. It's an out and in. Gilchrist underneath it. They know the play. They got it doubled everywhere. 3 double teams, and Peyton Manning still made the throw and catch. And Emmanuel Sanders, what can you say? What a night for him. As time goes on, they're just finding more ways to use him.
6 catches tonight, 92 yards and 3 touchdowns. And again, dumping it off to Oliver. And he loses 2.
They can't break a tackle. Oliver's been breaking tackles all year long. He's a tough, strong runner. But again, Brandon Marshall.
How about this? Oliver's got 8 carries for 4 yards, but 4 receptions for a loss of 7. So that's 12 touches for -3 yards on the night for Brandon Oliver.
You said it, I said it in commercial. We talked about it after the first drive. We went, boy, Denver's defense is fast. And you see it with their edge rushers and their linebackers.
2nd and 12. He's got the time. And he tried to thread the pass to Allen. Double teamed by Irving and Talib.
Aqib Talib is all over it. He's really good on inside routes. He sees the break and then he just outruns the football. Perfect timing.
On Miller, you saw him lean over, and he's come to the sidelines, replaced by McCray. 3rd and 12. Here's the long ball down the field. Diving attempt is incomplete. Trying to hook up with Malcolm Floyd.
If he'd have thrown it just a little higher, this is what you got to do. In this league, you have to throw the football 5 or 6 times high and deep down the field. The edge goes to the receiver. It's so much easier for him. He's going to the ball. The defensive back has to react to you and the football. Hard to do.
Here's Mike Cypress. Burst from the 25, sprinting ahead. And that's a 14-yard return after a 52-yard boot. Brought down by Green. Emmanuel Sanders having a night to remember in the Mile High City. And Peyton with the 3 touchdowns tonight. That's with regular and postseason numbers combined. 550 touchdown passes for Manning. Play action, and down the middle he goes to Demarius. Falls down at the 38. 23-yard pickup.
Demarius Thomas has just turned into a route runner. Besides the fact that he's big and fast, he does a little double move on the outside, and Sharice Wright, I think they caught, their feet got tangled up and he went down. But last week against the 49ers, he ran one of those routes and was wide open. Peyton Manning hit him right in stride.
And Thomas now with 90 yards on 6 catches. Coming back to him. Oh, and he drops it this time. On the quick slant. Let's go down to Tracy quickly.
Well, thanks, Jim. You saw Von Miller take himself out. He got the wind knocked out of him. Trainers checked his ribs, checked his chest. He's right now on the bench. No one looking at him, and it looks as though he'll go back in when they get back on defense.
Okay. Of course, Miller last year blew out a knee in late December, had to miss the playoffs, the Super Bowl. Talked this week about having to stand on the sidelines, sit on the bench most of the Super Bowl, just watching. He couldn't stand for long, having had the recent surgery.
Encroachment, defense number 72. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Called on Palapoy. A Week 8 continues Sunday morning live from London. Special time, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Everyone will get it on Fox. The Lions and the Falcons from Wembley Stadium. And here's your 1 o'clock set of games on CBS and Fox. Check your local listings. 2nd and 5. They go to Hellman, and he breaks into the secondary. They got a flag down, though. Back at the line of scrimmage. Has probably taken this one off the books. Hillman doesn't know it yet.
Holding, offense number 74. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
They flagged Orlando Franklin, the converted right tackle, to left guard, and take off the 33-yard touchdown.
Well, you saw what he brings to this offense and why we've been hearing about him for a year. You give him an opening, he can get through it so fast, and he can run past the unblocked defensive players. 74 inside.
Yeah, Franklin had a hold of Gatchkar.
Yep, reaches that arm right around him.
And the penalty marked off on the spot of the foul. We got Tammy at the top of the screen. It's 2nd and 12. And they're going deep. Going deep for Tammy. And that's going to bring an interference call against Marshall, who got beat earlier on a deep ball for a touchdown.
Well, that's one matchup that should favor.
Pass interference. Defense number 31. Automatic first down.
It should favor top of your screen. Marshall, he's faster than Tammy. Yes, never looks back, puts his arm on him, runs into him, keeps him from going inside and getting the football. That's a good call.
Ball is at the 9, 1st and goal. The running back is Juwan Thompson. That's a 31-yard penalty. San Diego's defense has been hit with 3 penalties this quarter. Sanders, the first man in the slot to the left. His last 3 catches have gone for touchdowns. This is going to Demarius Thomas. Down to the 2.
It's really a downfield screen that we saw and we talked about in the opening. That time Wes Welker went down the field and was blocking the whole way to let the receiver come inside and catch it. As he goes, look, you see the blocking by both receivers. They got the look they want. They did it in the first half for a big gain, and they just did it for a nice gain there.
And they got Hillman, the running back. And they shift Virgil Green to the left. Hillman, who rushed for 2 touchdowns last week.
Hurry up!
And a timeout called by Denver. Midway 3rd quarter, up 14 and looking to go in again. A reminder, with NFL Mobile, stream primetime games like tonight's Thursday night football broadcast and live local Sunday afternoon games on your mobile device. Learn more at NFL.com/mobile. Hillman, the deep back. They go with the fullback instead, and it's a touchdown for Juwan Thompson.
Well, they don't have a true fullback on the roster, but I like the way they did this. You put a halfback at the fullback position, somebody that's used to handling the football and has done it many times, and the risk is much lower. They give it to the fullback, which we see every once in a while, Jim, and you know they get 2 or 3 carries the whole year.
And the rookie from Duke, again undrafted, played for one of Peyton's closest pals, David Cutcliffe. He has his 2nd touchdown of his rookie season. The last 21 unanswered, going the Broncos' way. Manning and the Broncos with not only the 21 unanswered, but the last 11 first downs in this game that belong to the Broncos. And we'll bring it out with a touchback. And remind you, Saturday, it's the best game for the best conference. When the SEC on CBS goes all in with top-ranked Mississippi State at Kentucky in Lexington. And it all begins with the college football today here on CBS Sports at 3 o'clock on Saturday. Peyton Manning, 3 touchdowns, 228 yards. There's his quarterback rating for the night. He had 4 incompletions against the 49ers on the record-breaking night with the 4 touchdown passes, just as many touchdowns as incompletions. As a rare positive play goes Oliver's way, and it's good for only 2.
Well, you got to run the football. Why would you do it? You got to keep this defense honest. I think it's quite apparent when you get in obvious passing situations. Phillip Rivers, the offensive line, can't keep them out long enough.
By the way, that backfield, of course, hoping to have Ryan Matthews back in a couple of games. He's been out with a knee injury, suffered early in the season. They've already lost Danny Woodhead for the year. Donald Brown is inactive tonight with an injury. And that's in and out of the hands of Gates. Well defended by Brandon Marshall.
How about that? He's having some night. And another free agent just comes out of nowhere. We talk about it. They have a lot of them on this team that are just making tremendous contributions. Late round draft picks. Chris Harris, he was an undrafted free agent. And Jim, when you talk about the Chargers running game, it wouldn't matter tonight if Jim Brown was back there.
There you go.
There's nowhere to run the football.
3rd down and 8. Denver dominating the line of scrimmage. And here they come after Rivers, who gets it away, and he's got a 1st down. Eddie Royal jumping up and grabbing that one in front of Bradley Roby, their 1st-round pick out of Ohio State.
Bradley Roby's had a good year. He has good technique, but he lets him get outside. His job was to cover the outside route. Got faked out, thought Eddie Royal was going inside. Good throw and catch.
Swings it over to Oliver, makes a nifty move and gets out past the 50 to the 47. Another one of those last-ditch sidearm getaways by Rivers, and able to escape a possible sack, turning into 22.
Yeah, they're expected to try to throw some crossers. It's man coverage, and that time Oliver finally beats Brandon Marshall to pick up extra yards.
To Oliver. And that's Brandon Marshall, who you just talked about. One of those rare finds, who was originally drafted into the league by Jacksonville and was cut 3 times by the Jaguars before Denver gave him a chance. And he served a very big role this year with Danny Trevathan.
Sure.
Battling injuries, and Trevathan now, his latest injury, has him on the IR, designated to return later.
The defensive coaches didn't even know about him because he was on the practice squad, always going against the offense, so they never watched what he was doing. John Fox saw it because he watches both sides and told him, we got to get this guy in the lineup.
2nd and 7. Down the sidelines looking for Floyd. And a battle for the football.
What a catch.
Oh my goodness, was that a catch. Look at this, trying to battle for it.
It's not only that, he sees T.J. Ward coming from the inside, full speed. But receivers, they know the rules. They're protected when they're in the air. That makes it a little easier to make catches like that.
That is some catch, but Floyd was hurt. His arm was dangling as he went to the far sideline. Incredible catch. 1st and 10. And that's Keenan Allen down to the 10-yard line. His first catch of the 2nd half. Goes for 7.
You know, it is what they... Boy, Malcolm Floyd's going off the field.
Second and 3. At the 11. To Ronnie Brown. Spinning for that 1st down, trying to get away from Ward. But they mark him a yard short. And they bring Brandon Oliver back in for a 3rd and 1.
Third and 1. If they didn't get it, if they didn't lose yards here, Jim, I think they would absolutely go for it on 4th down. Getting late in the 3rd quarter, you're down 21 points.
They stack 3 to the left, including Gates. Now a timeout's called by San Diego. And Rivers looks to the bench as if to say why. Ooh, Rivers didn't want that timeout, which came from the sideline.
It did. Mike McCoy walked down the sideline and made the call. I don't know if he liked the formation. Here he is, top of your screen. Well, I can't make it.
Yeah, McCoy right up there in the blue shirt. know, he says.
Yeah, Phillip Rivers, you know, early in his career, or just a few years ago, these kind of things bothered people. Like, oh, he loses his cool and all that, but you know, Jim, we need him. He's high energy. He does everything with a smile. Even there, he had a little smile on his face like, why are we doing that?
Great leader. 3rd and 1. Let's see what happens out of the San Diego timeout. Going to try to go up top for it. He's got to slide away from the pressure to the end zone and incomplete and no flag. Going for Oliver. Oh, there is a flag on the far side of the field.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense number 29. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
They got the rookie Roby, and Denver will have a new set of downs and 1st and goal to go.
29 right there. Oh. The change of direction, you see him, Gray pulls the towel out of the pants of the San Diego receiver. So that and the jersey, good call. Those are tough. When you stack 3 receivers together, the defensive back's got to sort it out. Hard to make that change of direction in situations like that.
Ladarius Green to the right side. Gates in a slot to the left, and Rivers unloads it, incomplete. And that pressure was coming from Vaughn Miller, who did, in fact, as Tracy reported, re-enter the game after having the wind knocked out of him earlier in this quarter.
Well, they double-teamed Vaughn Miller that time, but when Phillip Rivers breaks out, there's nothing that DJ Fluker can do. But the coverage on the right side where he was looking, tight coverage everywhere in the field, double-teaming. Antonio Gates, nowhere to throw the football.
2nd and goal. Chargers down 21. Lofts it. Incomplete, and a flag on Ward. Gates, so often Rivers' go-to guy, and he was headed his way again.
There's no foul for defensive pass interference. 3rd down.
Go. Mike Carey, why is this not defensive pass interference? They impede his progress, it looks like.
Yes, we have a catchable ball, and it goes right through the receiver's back. Pass interference would have been the best call there.
Instead, it's 3rd and goal. Watch Allen on the right side. Talib will be on him. Allen already in the end zone once. Rivers is looking the left side instead. And goes to the end zone. Incomplete. Boy, it hung on the back of Raheem Moore for a while as Gates, again, was the guy that Rivers was looking for. And they're going to go for it on 4th down. They're going to go for it.
Yeah, nowhere to go again. Phillip Rivers does a good job, breaks out of the pocket. But once he breaks, the second move by the receivers, nobody is still getting open. Antonio Gates, once again, 2 guys covered him. You have to look somewhere else.
Well, it's still the 3rd quarter, but they've got to do something right here. Down 21. 4th and goal. Rivers to the end zone and a touchdown, and it's Gates.
Really surprised by the coverage that time.
The 68th time Rivers has found Gates for a touchdown.
Jim, they single covered him, and he uses his big body and just pushes the defender out of the way. It was a nice little quick move, and TJ Ward, not many guys could make this coverage. Gets in the end zone, pushes off. Phillip Rivers anticipates. Easy touchdown.
Rivers was talking to us last night about his first touchdown pass as a starter came against Oakland in an opening game in 06, and it was 2 gates. In a game he only threw 11 passes. Little did he know that was going to be the start of the most prolific combination between quarterback and tight end as far as touchdowns go in league history. He said, hey, that's the first of many, he told Gates. Gates said, oh, I'm not so sure. We'll see.
Gates looked at him like he was crazy.
NFL Thursday Night Football is sponsored by Bridgestone. Your journey, our passion. And by Walmart. Save money. Live better. And the scoring drive that ends on a 4th down touchdown connection to Antonio Gates. And that's his 8th touchdown of the season. And we've been talking about how successful Denver's been for a long time in the red zone. That's now 55 straight red zone scores for San Diego, and Rivers is coming out smiling now after completing that drive with the touchdown. Noticed a little bit last night, some of the Charger players, we were talking about their 5-2 start. They got a little sensitive about how everybody's kind of jumping on the bandwagon. Says you guys in the media may think that we've just kind of figured out. We feel like we've been doing good things for a long time. As Caldwell shakes off the first hit and gallops out to the 35.
Well, Jim, let's look at the Manning family and how they all throw the football. Archie Manning, more of a sidearm thrower, but boy, could he run with the football in college and the pros. Peyton, I've talked about it many times tonight, a body thrower, violent. That's why he's so active with the football down the field. Eli Manning, just like his personality, real smooth throwing the football, and very classic. All three, of course, got it done.
Hey,
Archie Manning, yeah. It looks like Phillip Rivers, the way he delivered the football sometimes. Whatever angle he needed, he got it done.
Play action fake and in the direction of Thomas. Exclusive wired sound from Peyton Manning's record-breaking game. Sound FX, Peyton Manning 509s tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern, only on NFL Network. Speaking of Archie, he's taking a leave of absence from the College Football Playoff Committee for health reasons. He had a knee replacement surgery in the summer, and just a great friend to the college game, and we wish him well in his continued recovery. He's going to be just fine. And Olivia, I know they're keeping busy trying to get Archie back up to speed as soon as possible. And here's the give to Hillman. Look at this move. Down the sidelines. Tried to fake out Weddle. Weddle kept the angle, but Hillman with a 37-yard run.
Watch what he does. He wants to cut it up. He makes that little dip, then turns it to the outside, and we talked about it. He can outrun the guys who are not blocked, and he does it this time. Sharice Rice, that's tough. He was at a stop, but so fast. Situation where you want to get that first down, turn the game back in your favor, get momentum, give your defense a rest. Hillman gets it done.
And he's got 13 carries, 87 on the night.
And Jimmy made that move because he's getting the reps in practice, getting more in the game.
And getting another one right here, taking a Charger with him for about 4. And look at him just jump right back up and going to sit out of play.
You know, everybody worried about him fumbling the football. The Chargers, when you fumble the football in the NFL, that like goes on your tombstone. You got to not fumble it for the next 5 years. The Chargers, they talked about it every time he gets the football. We've got to try to rip it out because, oh, we think he's a fumbler, but nothing even close to that so far tonight.
Thompson replaces Hillman, 2nd and 6. In the last minute of the 3rd. And a catch right off the ground by Sanders for 5.
Well, let's look at next-gen stats. How far did Ronnie Hillman run there? Boy, nice break to the outside, and that's speed. Everybody wanting to go to college and play wide receiver. San Diego State, he told me, was the only one that said you can be a running back. He made the right choice.
3rd and 1 for the Broncos, just inside the 20. Ask Thompson to pick it up, and he is able to lower the shoulder pads and deliver the new set of downs.
That was a man looking for some contact.
He found it, found the first to run out the quarter through 3. 28-14 Broncos. Will return after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching Thursday Night Football. Broncos taking the 2nd and 3rd quarters by 14-7 margins. Jim Nantz, Phil Simms, Tracy Wolfson along with Mike Carey on the rules situations. Tonight we start the 4th, and the Broncos have a first down from the San Diego 16. And to Thomas, that puts him over 100 with his 8th catch of the night.
Now, we always see these screens to the outside. We saw it against San Francisco to Wes Welker for a touchdown. Tonight, they're doing something to the inside. They're going to block down the field. You see Wes Welker. Thomas comes underneath. That's the 3rd time, and all 3 of them have gained good yards. Just another reason why they're almost impossible to stop.
It's Hillman. Got a first down. Into the pile near the 2.
You know, just think about it, Jim, as you watch this game, all the different plays. Even if you're a casual fan, you can notice it when you watch this offense. And they do it all. They execute it to, of course, to a high degree. The talent is incredible. The offensive line is solid. Good luck.
Taylor! Ram!
Then we probably have the greatest quarterback in NFL history running this whole thing.
Let's see if they run it here. Maybe give Hillman a reward for a good night. They fake to him over the top. They go, but he's intercepted with a flag out. It's Weddle. Weddle to the 20. The Broncos' red zone streak of scoring will come to an end unless the flag's against San Diego.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense number 38. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
They got Marcus Gilchrist.
Good job by Eric Weddle, understanding that they love those hop passes down inside. Everybody runs them. Watch number 32, reading the quarterback. Eric, oh man, that's a
what
great
catch.
One-handed catch. He's had a terrific year. When you watch him play, he always sticks out, making tackles, blitzing the quarterback.
Again, they go inside to Thompson, and Thompson's in for his 2nd touchdown. From a yard out.
Well, the coaches say he makes a quick decision and he runs hard. Well, we've seen that on both touchdown runs. Does he get in?
Boy, when he spun around, I think he broke the plane.
He might have when he spun. Here he
Butler
goes.
has hold of him. Still waiting for the word up top to confirm it.
The previous play is under review.
Okay, closer inspection is necessary before they give the touchdown to Thompson.
You're watching NFL Thursday Night Football.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Juwan Thompson, 3 touches tonight, and 2 of them have gone for touchdowns.
Well, the ruling on the field stands. I can never see the football, so there's no evidence that says that he didn't score.
That's right. McManus ups the lead. Back to 21 again. 35-14 Broncos. NFL Thursday Night Football is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's. Never stop improving. Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL. And by Mazda and the Mazda 6 as you look at the Museum of Nature and Science here, founded back in 1900 in the great city of Denver.
Well, the one thing you take away from tonight when you watch this game, 35-14, Denver on both sides of the ball, they are extremely aggressive.
Phillip Rivers, he has been under pressure all night long, Phil.
Well, he does this just about every single game. Von Miller gets back there. Look at him, though. He keeps his focus down the field, gets the sack. But then the pocket collapses so fast, nobody's open right away. He's throwing those little dump passes, which have just not worked tonight. The tackling, the speed of the Broncos is taking those away.
By the way, Malcolm Floyd was last seen being escorted to the locker room after a circus catch. He's back in the game. And here's the completion to Keenan Allen, who's having a good night for the Chargers side. His 9th catch.
Yeah, one of the reasons why you don't play a zone where you just watch the quarterback or plays like that. The receivers, the quarterbacks are too good now in the NFL. They will throw those open spots and get big plays just like that.
9 catches for 73 yards and a touchdown for Keenan Allen. Still trying to find a running game, and nothing is there. Give him one. Oliver. In the win here last December, Ryan Matthews carried it nearly 30 times for over 120 yards. They ball controlled it and they won the game here. Rivers back has won 4 of the last 5 years in the regular season at Denver, but he's down big tonight. In a scramble here, and Phillip with a flag down has the first down. You see the flag in the secondary. Scrambles for 16.
Illegal contact, defense number 54. 5-yard penalty added to the end of the run. First down.
35-14. What happened? Defensive linemen, they think of one thing. Let's sack the quarterback. Look at the running lane and the sights for Phillip Rivers. We talk about this all the time. It doesn't matter who you are at quarterback now in the NFL. When they give you the opportunity, you got to take off and run. Or take off, move, and then throw the football.
Tells a fellow NC Stater, Nate Irvin, get off of me there at the bottom of the pile. His longest run of the season goes for 16. And it's Oliver for 3. And it's Irving again on the tackle.
Hey, Jim, how about this? Do you think Brandon Oliver is going to need these 10 days off after the contact he's had here tonight? I would say yes.
Well, he's just had a great run up here for the 3 games. They were searching for a running game after Matthews went out early in the year. Woodhead out for the year. Donald Brown, they have him start out at Buffalo. But this kid has had some monster performances. He was over 100 in his first 2 starts.
His roommate at the University of Buffalo was Khalil Mack.
And that's something the scouts never realized his talent. Undrafted. 2nd and 7. And there's Floyd, shoved out by Talib. Yeah, you're talking about Brandon Oliver. How do you have all the scouts out there checking out Khalil Mack, and they never realize that there's a kid there that can play in the league?
Many reasons. You know, one, he's at Buffalo, so they go, well, it's not the competition, it's not great. I always love that. And then his size, and when he tested, he even admittedly said when he worked out for some pro teams, he just had a bad day, so sometimes you can slip through. But he fit in during the preseason. The first game against the Cowboys, he was terrific.
First down for the Chargers. Stepping away and dumping it off to Oliver for 9. There were 22 running backs drafted back in the spring. He wasn't one of them. There were 30 more signed within the first 2 days of the draft, and he wasn't one of them either.
Good job by Phillip Rivers. Another odd angle throwing the football. Good job moving around and getting extra time.
2nd and 1.
Still time for the San Diego Chargers to get back in this game. Of course, it is 4-down territory for sure.
Here is Oliver. And he's able to go under Irving to pick up the first.
Well, sometimes being 5'8" is a good thing. Gets underneath. Who was that? Brandon Marshall again or Nate Irving? Brandon Marshall.
Well, he first went under Irving. Then Marshall finished him off. And now it's a 1st and goal to go for the Chargers. Watch Gates in the slot to the left. And there he is. Caught it for the touchdown, Antonio Gates. I tell you, you put Gates in a 1-on-1 jump ball situation, he's going to win it.
Absolutely. That's what they do. They get formations where Phillip Rivers reads it. And right at the snap of the ball, he knew immediately who he was going to because he saw a safety, T.J. Ward, on Antonio Gates.
Got rid of it just before Miller decked him.
And he was mad about this. He thought Von Miller drove him into the ground. That was not a penalty.
You know, Gates had a 3-touchdown game against Seattle this year, and he said after the game he got so many texts, but they were all from former players. He says, I need some new friends.
Tells you getting old.
Exactly. We're back and waiting to see if the Gates
After
touchdown.
review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Receiver maintained control of the football all the way to the ground. Touchdown.
2nd touchdown of the night for Gates. As Ward tried to force it out of there, but the strong hands of the former Kent State basketball player who played in the Elite Eight back in 2002, 1 game away from going to the Final Four as their top rebounder lost to Mike Davis's Indiana team. Rivers has a 3rd touchdown pass of the night, 2 of them to Gates. NFL Thursday Night Football, sponsored by McDonald's, official sponsor of the NFL. I'm loving it. And by T-Mobile. Rivers has hit his last 5 passes, 2 of them for touchdowns. This one went 80 yards, 8 plays. One of the big plays, the 17-yard scramble that had 5 more added to it because of a penalty on the Denver defense. And then Gates from 10 yards on the receiving end of Rivers' 3rd touchdown toss of the night. Now, what about onside kick here or keep it away, kick it away? You've got Denver anticipating or up close for a possible onside kick.
They got to do that to protect themselves, but I don't think there's any way you onside kick. You got one guy back, try to pin him inside the 20.
You got Sanders was standing at the 20. He goes back to watch it go over his head for a touchback. Now you got to stop Peyton Manning in this offense twice.
Yeah, you do. But, you know, the onside kick it, if you miss it, almost guarantees that the game, it could be over. So I just watched the kickoff. It was close. If it's about 3 or 4 more yards shorter, they're going to pin them inside the 10 because there's no blockers back there to protect the returner. We see it a lot. I don't think I've ever seen a team execute it very well when they kick off.
9.5 to play. Hillman, who's 3 yards away from 100, shifts behind the quarterback. Big toss to Sanders. He's got a 100-yard gain. Manuel Sanders lost the football. Had it stripped, and then Welker dives onto it for the Bronco recovery. Weddle was the one who knocked it out of Sanders' hands. And Welker, who's had only 1 catch tonight, comes up with his biggest play of the evening, a recovery.
It's a great drive starter, throwing a quick pass outside.
Look at him punch it.
Yeah, he got a fist and hits it. Good hustle. Boy, Eric Weddle, you know you're in a drive. You know you need to get down there. Keep San Diego from getting back on quick. You throw it out there. The off coverage, don't forget, starting corners for San Diego are not out there. And you almost get the big turnover.
1st and 10. And Hillman has one. Again, next Thursday, the Thursday Night Football package goes exclusively to the NFL Network. And we'll be down in Charlotte for the Carolina Panthers, hosting of the New Orleans Saints. NFC South action next week. That'll be a good one. Carolina has to tackle with Seattle this weekend, and the Saints will be hosting Green Bay. 2nd and 9.
Taylor! Omaha!
And another catch for Sanders. His 9th of the night for 120 yards and 3 touchdowns. Chris Davis is out there in that secondary, so they're so thin at corner. The rookie from Auburn seeing his first action in this game.
Blitz at time by the San Diego Chargers. They got to stop, of course, a scoring drive, but they got to stop the drive to give their offense a chance. They need 2 drives to tie this game up. So you take a chance right here.
3rd and 3. And the Chargers hold him. Take him off the field. Pass complete. Julius Thomas with just his 2nd catch tonight. But it's good for a 1st down and 17 yards.
Well, it's man-to-man coverage, and we've seen it all night. Coming up across the field, a safety on the tight ends. It's so hard to cover him. Gilchrist just cannot stay with him. We see the same thing on the other side when T.J. Ward is trying to cover Antonio Gates.
It's rare to have such a quiet night for Julius Thomas. 2 catches for 23 yards. 9 touchdowns on the season for him.
That was a big one.
Here's Hillman, and he's backed up. What a tackle by Gatchkar.
You know, we see it so much. Gatchkar, when he gets in there and plays, not a normal starter, but boy, he always plays well. 59, watching attack, opens his arms up. Perfect form tackling.
Andre Caldwell comes onto the field for the Denver offense from the 35. 2nd and 11. Well, Thomas is not in on this play. Pass intended for Hillman. And it'll be 3rd and 10 coming up. 3rd and 11.
Well, it'll be interesting if they don't make it here. Do they bring in the field goal kicker and try a 53, 52-yard field goal?
Yeah, a kicker who has not been healthy. He has a groin injury, talking about Brandon McManus. In fact, didn't even practice on Tuesday. Limited yesterday. There's that field goal. They pretty much clinch it, make it a 3-score game. Third and 11. Peyton slides away from the pressure and throws it away and hits the deck. That was Reyes chasing after him.
John Fox, good job. Coverage down the field is good. John Fox sending the field goal team out. Tough to go. The penetration or the push on the pocket. There's some guys open, but Peyton Manning not wanting to take a sack. Bailed out there quick to ensure this long field goal try.
So here's McManus from 53 yards. His longest is 44. And this kick is no good, and San Diego will be taking over at the 43 with 6 minutes to go. And still a pulse for the Chargers. There's Dean Spanos, the chairman of the board and the president of the Chargers. Checking out a few texts. Getting a few encouraging texts, I'm sure, after the missed field goal. Here with 6 minutes to go. His team takes over at the point of the miss, the 43. Best starting point of the evening. They've driven it for touchdowns the last 2 times they've had it. Dump it off across the middle. And Floyd is tripped up by Roby. Nice tackle by the rookie. By the way, doubleheader day on the way Sunday. We're going to dial up a dynamic duo of games. Early, many are going to see Seattle at Carolina. Late, we're going to be in Pittsburgh for the Steelers hosting of Indianapolis. And everything gets started at noon Eastern time with the NFL today. 2nd and 7. And again, they take what's available underneath, and they've got Green for a first down. Ladarius Green.
Big, fast, tight end. They come with the blitz this time. And what does that do? That opens up the underneath guys running the cross like Ladarius Green. Haven't heard his name much because Malcolm Floyd is back. Antonio Gates is playing great, but he's big. Maybe the fastest guy on the team. You give him those situations, he can make a big play for you.
It's his first catch tonight. Good for a first down. Rivers now has hit his last 7 throws. He's going for the big ball. And that is intercepted by Raheem Moore. He can get up and run with it. And finally decked by Johnny Troutman at the 28-yard line. Rivers was trying to find Malcolm Floyd deep.
Well, it was a double move. Aqib Talib was all over it, and Phillip Rivers just lost his patience. It was never there.
That might be down by contact.
I think so.
I mean, Floyd had a hand on his back.
And he's just hoping his big receiver can go up and make a play. But Raheem Moore plays basically every single play this year as a safety. Good job reading the quarterback and going over there and securing the catch. Watch how he catches it with his arms and his body. Yeah, there's contact, so this is definitely going to be down.
Which will mean the football will be at about the 3.
They were in contact as they go up, as they hit each other. You can see the arm of Malcolm Floyd on Raheem Moore.
Peyton's already got his offensive unit. He's waving him back to retreat. The huddle in the end
After
zone.
review, the intercepting player was down by contact at the 4-yard line. Please set the game clock to 4 minutes, 53 seconds. First down, Denver.
This Raheem Moore is such a different player. Of course, missed most of all of last year, but 2 years removed from the Flacco throw in the playoffs. And John Fox. Mixing it up there.
I don't know. I think that was all good stuff. I think John Fox is going, that's what we need you to do. They've had so many safety troubles over the first 2 years. This year, there have been no problems with Raheem Moore or TJ Ward.
First down. Underneath goes Hillman for 3, and that gives him 100 on the nose. And all Phillip can do is shake his head. 3 touchdowns and 2 picks tonight.
You know, they accomplished this, Jim, as we watched the game, especially here in the second half. They threw the ball enough. It did tire the Denver Broncos pass rush out. They were not getting to him as fast or collapsing the pocket like they did early in the game.
6 linemen in for the Broncos. Chris Clark. Now, if they run it here, San Diego with 2 timeouts might think about utilizing one here. As Hillman picks up another 3. And they're going to let the clock run with 4 minutes to go. 3rd down on the way. Also on the way, the Mazda postgame show. Interviews and analysis of tonight's game. They will meet again, their second matchup That San Diego will be December 14th.
Of course, the Chargers are hoping here in a few weeks they'll get a lot of injured players back, but they have to have a stop here. Peyton Manning, of course, is going to be extremely careful with the football.
Ram! Hey, go the ball!
3rd and 4. He's got his first down. And Welker holds on even though he is pancaked by Weddle.
Eric Weddle, they're waiting on the play, but the timing is so good that he just can't get over there and make the play. Here's Eric Weddle. Look at, he comes down and hooks up in between them. And Eric Weddle just gets up and shakes his head.
Now inside 3 to go.
Apple! Yeah, Apple! Hey, 53! Yeah! Omaha!
So ride it with Hillman for 7. Now with 20 carries on the night and 109 yards.
Yeah, you just look at this football team. Look at the offense. We talked about the Broncos. Hillman, Emmanuel Sanders both in there. It gives them speed. They're much more dynamic.
Timeout called by San Diego. And again, what a night it's been for Sanders. There's more than one guy named Sanders who was ready for prime time tonight. Not just Dion, but so too was Emmanuel.
Yeah, I think that play right before half, playing that aggressive coverage, that's the one to look back on and go, that was a mistake. Emmanuel Sanders, one of the reasons they wanted him, Adam Gase, the offensive coordinator, learned under Mike Martz in St. Louis. And he wanted a route runner like they remembered him of Isaac Bruce, and they thought he was close to that.
The next gen stats have him credited with 968 yards of running tonight in total in all the plays. There's a new stat for you as he's got 120 in receiving yards. That's Thompson hurtling ahead for another first down. And timeout called again by the Chargers. Their last.
Bring the tight end, Virgil Green across. Everybody chasing the football. Thompson cuts it back. Good run. Really, when you look at it, Jim, your starting corners are out. You got to say San Diego. So they're willing to fight.
By the way, the Broncos are bound to improve to 6-1, and they will go on a 3-game road trip to New England, which will be our national doubleheader game coming up in 10 days' time. Then at Oakland, at St. Louis. They had their bye week early in the season, week 4. San Diego, meanwhile, will be at Miami next week. Place they haven't won in 30 years, and then they'll have their bye week. Thompson, another 4, which will bring us to the 2-minute warning. They played 3 close games a year ago, these two, including the divisional round here at Denver, won by 7 by the Broncos before they met up with New England and won the AFC Championship a week later. But they did not score over 30 points in any one of the 3 games last year, the Broncos. Tonight they put up 35. 2 minutes to go, as the Broncos are on their way to 6-1. Well, Peyton won't have to stay up quite as late tonight, returning texts like he did on Sunday night. So many out there to congratulate him. Wide-ranging friendships from the country music field to, of course, in football, as old coaches, legendary quarterbacks of yesteryear, current quarterbacks, all the assistants, golfers from Tiger Woods to Phil Mickelson to Bubba Watson, on and on. You know how he is about returning texts. He spent probably about as much time Sunday night just saying, hey, thank you, as he did as long as it took to beat San Francisco in the game itself.
Well, I think now he can sit back and cherish what he's done and maybe celebrate a little, because He did that Sunday night. The turnaround is so quick, you can't even sit there and enjoy the victory for a day.
In 96 hours. In 96 hours, they put up, what, 77 points.
False start. Offense number 71. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Yeah, he's getting mad. You know, he gets mad at his players, the coaches, and this time he's mad at the fans.
You know, we've had a chance to see in person Denver 3 times. We've seen everybody from Seattle to New England. This is the best team in football.
Right now, there's no doubt in my mind they're the best team in football. So many weapons on offense. Peyton Manning, the quarterback, fast. They can do everything on the defensive side. And like I said earlier in the game, they match up. They both attack.
As Thompson has a pair of touchdowns tonight. Picks up 5. We thank DeMarcus Ware for being mic'd up tonight. And here was a word from him a moment ago.
I gotta go get this corner, man. When I beat around the corner, I'm just like right here trying to swipe, and he just runs back. You know, I'm gonna go around the corner, and I'm gonna do like this, I'm gonna boom, I'm gonna spin back, and he's gonna be right there running that way. Yeah.
He's frustrated, isn't he? I mean, that's all he can talk about. I'm gonna get this Rivers.
Boy, is he loving his time here in Denver, though.
He was talking about going upfield, stopping, make Rivers step up, then swing inside and get the sack.
3rd and 5.
Omaha!
Timeout called by Payton. Again, the Mazda post-game show will be coming up shortly. Interviews and analysis of tonight's game. When you look inside that 6-1 record, that includes wins against Indianapolis, Arizona, San Francisco, and San Diego. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is impressive. And John Pagano said this year's offense he sees in Denver is better than the team he saw last year, and I think we've noticed that too all year long.
Broncos, who have gone on to claim the #1 seed in their conference the last 2 years. Looking at a 3rd year, just now week 8, so reaching the halfway point. Looking like the team to beat when it comes to that #1 overall seed going into the playoff time for the American Football Conference. Improving to 6-1. They also won in the division against Kansas City week 2. That was a hard-fought game. What a job put together by Coach Reed. Talk about a team decimated by injury. They won at San Diego. They're 3-3. It's John Elway. He had a big offseason. Some of his acquisitions, especially that defensive side.
I'm just trying to figure out how they get all these players here and get it under the salary cap. So John Elway has shown everybody a great executive.
Another timeout called by the Broncos. It's a little throwback Thursday. Focused on John Elway, 2-time Super Bowl champion. His 300 career touchdown passes. And going out with those Super Bowl wins.
You know, just physically one of the most gifted quarterbacks that's really ever played in the league. He's big, strong, could shake off tackles, really good scrambler, could move, throw on the run. And, you know, he played in an era, in a style, it wasn't all about him just throwing the football. But when they needed it late in games, seemed like he always came through.
Colquitt. And that's returned by Allen to the 33, with just 18 seconds remaining. What do you see for San Diego now after this 5-1 start, losing 2 games in a span of 4 days to drop to 5-3?
I thought before the season start they could be a surprise team because they got some corners. Verrett, they got Brandon Flowers. Injuries have really hurt them. They've got to get healthy so they can go down and win some of these games. Their schedule very tough at the end. I mean, look at it, Baltimore, New England, down in Miami. Hey, that's not going to be easy. It'll be hot. Miami's fast. They got pass rushers. Tannehill playing better, playing very well.
and they'll just run it. Oliver, for the first time tonight, sees open space in the running game, and that will do it.
But Jim, the thing that makes this team different than the one we saw last year is the defense. It is much improved.
It's the fourth time in Denver team history they have 200-yard receivers in Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas, plus a 100-yard rusher in Ronnie Hillman. They put up 35 points against the number 3 scoring defense in the league. Without a giveaway tonight, the Broncos did not allow a sack. And they advanced to 6-1 with their 4th straight victory since coming out of the bye.
Well, they're hot right now. They really are, on both sides of the football. And they're one of those streaks. Can you keep this going? Can you keep playing at this level? We're watching them play on both sides of the football now.
A couple of guys that one day will meet again in Canton. Welker didn't have a real busy night of it, but he had a key fumble recovery in that 4th quarter just after San Diego had cut it to 35-21 and Sanders had the ball stripped. And had the Chargers recovered, who knows, with plenty of time to go, they would have had the ball in plus territory.
Well, you look back at it and say that might have been as big a play as any in the whole football game.
Peyton still has only lost one time inside the AFC West since joining the Broncos 3 years ago, and that was to San Diego here a year ago. But a great record inside this division, and he's right now with Tracy.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Peyton, 1 week it's Demaryius, 1 week it's Julius. Tonight it was Emmanuel. How difficult is it for this offense to stop with all the weapons?
Well, that's what we're trying to do, is put pressure on a defense, create different matchups, move guys around, put them in different positions. And I think that's the good thing, is that everybody's running full speed routes because they know the ball can come to them at any point. And tonight was Emmanuel's night in the passing game. Although all the other guys made big plays, Demaryius was hot. Welker's 3rd down conversion might have been the biggest play of the game. So it was a good team effort.
A win like this over a divisional opponent like San Diego, what does it say about how difficult this team is to beat right now?
Well, they were injured now. They had 2 of their, normal starting secondary guys not playing. So that's 2 weeks in a row we've played teams with major injuries. Now, we have taken care of business, but we know next time around playing these guys, it'll be a different matchup. Have a lot of respect for them. Their offense is so hot. You got to keep up. So our offense was challenged tonight. We knew we had to score points to keep up with their offense.
And a few more touchdowns to add to that record.
Thanks. Well, thanks, Trace. I appreciate it. Okay.
Jim.
Yeah, it's now at 5-13. Another virtuoso Manning performance. The final score is 35-21. Denver takes it. Coming up, the Mazda postgame show for Phil, Tracy, and Mike Carey. Jim Nance saying so long from Denver. You've been watching Thursday Night Football. We'll join the studio